Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Disgustingly Resilient podcast and another plague blight surgery thing. The weekly stream where we go through our members' list of Blight Lord tier and above, and basically go through and give pointers, reviews, see how people are thinking, building, if there's any easy changes we might suggest, things like that. And yeah, pretty much just that's what it's all about. As we spend an hour, we go through a couple of lists, we see what people are cooking up and giving some feedback. If you are interested in getting yourself involved in that, do consider becoming a channel member, hitting the join button below. Blight Lord tier members 100% get basically priority on their stuff to get looked at, because we've just got so many members. But if you are a Plague Marine, you can also get looked at if you just are in the chat and basically give me a little wave and say, hey, can you come check out my list? And I will try and get round to it. If not, I will try and put you on a priority list. And if you are watching on Catch Up, again, feel free to leave your name in the comments, the name on Discord, that is, and I will try and get your list covered as well. So, how is everybody doing tonight? Good to see you, good people. I've had a terrible day. I went out to get some food for the dog. So I went to get him some food, and I went to Greg's, and I got a sausage roll. And then I was like, okay, I'll have it when I get home. So I come home, and I'm unpacking all the food and stuff, and I leave the sausage roll on top because I'm weird and I actually prefer my sausage rolls cold, which I know is like a crime. But I do. I left it on the counter, and then I came upstairs and was like playing some stuff or painting something. I can't remember. I was spending a bit of time. I was like, oh, I fancy my sausage roll now. And it's gone. Like, just vanished out of the blue, nowhere. I'm trying to find this thing for ages. I'm looking around, and then eventually Nat notices that there's a load of pastry crumbs on the floor. Load of crumbs on the floor. And would you know it, Kirby jumped up on the counter, got my sausage roll inside its Greg's bag, and ate the entire thing, the bag included. He was put in the naughty corner, but yeah, I'm very sad. I am sausage rollless. That is my slight rant for the start of the evening before we get going. I hope your day has been better than mine and filled with many sausage rolls. So, yes, Kobe, no problemo. We'll get yours. In fact, you know what? Let's get it started off. Music Drive. My latest league has just started and has a dreaded 5 Catan last in it. Hope your cock can. I'm sure your cock can handle that. You know how to handle your cock very well there, Mr. Music Drive, and I'm sure with your vigorous years of training, you will be prepared to take on the Catan Menace and show them the might of your cock. First time catching the stream. Hey, Anthony, awesome. Good to have you here, mate. So, hopefully you're all having a good weekend. Unfortunately, weekend does end tomorrow. Boo. So let's get off then with Cody, I think it is. Is that your name? So Kobe, there we go. So let's have a look. Are you in the Blight Surgery? Is your name the same as it is on YouTube, mate? Because it does help if I can find you that easier. There you are, I see you. Kobe. When are you going to play Steven again at VT? Honestly, the biggest problem with that is I live like in a country. I live like here, and Steven's office is like here. We're like pretty much on opposite ends. But no doubt we will probably head down again at some point. It's easy for Dave. Dave lives a lot closer. Like the distance from me to Steven is like 3/4 of the ways where Dave is. So Dave to get there, it's like a quarter of a trip than it is for me. So, but I would love to go again. I genuinely would love to go again. It was really good fun, and it's always a laugh. So you never know, might make a trip. They do host a lot of events now, so maybe I can do an RTT on the Saturday, stay over, and maybe just record something on the Sunday, then come on home. I really shouldn't tell anyone this because this is like the worst advice ever, but I hopefully it should get easier because I have a driving test this week. So provided we pass the driving test, getting around is going to be a lot easier. So that would hopefully open up more opportunities, means I can go to more events, do more things. It also means I can go to the likes like Element Games more often, which means I can then actually invest worthwhile in getting cameras and stuff, because at the moment, traveling back and forth is impossible, especially with cameras and whatnot to film battle reports. But if I have my own car, that's not a problem anymore. So, fingers crossed for me, boys and girls. We might even get battle reports going. That'd be awesome. Right. Hey, I played your Taliban list and it slaps. I love the control style list, and Plague BuzzFeed helped me a lot managing the rest. Hey, that's awesome, SL Cypher. It's a really fun list, isn't it? It's much more like a control approach to the game, and I've actually really enjoyed it myself. I much more prefer the control to the Unga Bunga, and it's just really weird. It doesn't look that impressive as a list when you look at it, but when you actually start playing it, it can do a lot of crazy things. Right. Kobe. Been playing with this a lot and having lots of fun and gotten some nice wins with it. However, I feel like I lack some more range threats and I'm thinking of trying to fit one, maybe two HBL drones into the list, but I'm sure of what to swap them for. Cool. So we're playing, hey, Chad, Flyblown host. Okay. So first up, we've got a Biologist Putrefier here. 85 points. He's got the Plague Veil. That is the Lone Up 18, as long as he's controlling an objective of his unit. So that's pretty nice. Then we've got a Foul Blight Spawn. Where is that guy at? There you are, cheeky Foul Blight Spawn. Then we've got a Lord of Contagion with the Man Reaper, who has the Rejuvenating Swarm. I love that on him. Standing back up on 6 wounds pretty much is always good fun, and it makes him even more annoying to kill. We have a Lord of Virulence with Droning Chorus, the best enhancement in the list. You're 100% going to take that. Then we have double Malignant Plaguecaster. Boop, boop. We like that. Taliban as well. Taliban's actually pretty good in Flyborn Husk. It actually has some really good stratagems, like 6-inch Paladin and Consolidate is kind of crazy. Double 5-man Plague Marine. So again, I'm just going to grab a bunch of Plague Marines. I'm not going to grab the exact loadouts. It doesn't matter too much. So grab that, grab that, grab that. So we've got 5-man Plague Marines, another 5-man Plague Marines, so 2 5-man Plague Marines. Then we have a big 10-man Plague Marines. Okay, I like it. 2 10-man Plague Marines. Then 10 Blight Lord Terminators. So, there we go. 10 of these buggers. 4 of those. There we go. 2 rows of Terminators. Then we have, backing that up, 3 Death Shroud Terminators, as per standard. Got to have a squad at least in. Got to bear in mind that all this is going to have stealth as well, which is going to make it actually really annoying to deal with. Then we have 1 normal Fetid Blood Drum with the Plague Spitters. Let's grab him. Then we have 2 Mythic Blight Haulers. 1, 2. Again, these are kind of important in Flyblown because they do unlock access to the -1 to be wounded stratagem, which is really important for you to be able to, you know, get the most out of like these Blight Lords, for example. Then we have 2 squads of Pox Walkers. Righty. So let me just control. Oop, didn't mean them to go there, but they're there now. Oh well, my bad. Cheeky Poxwalkers escaping my grasp. There we go. There we go. There we go. There we go. So, okay. So, let me just double check this. So there is a Chaos Rhino as well. I was about to say goodbye. So my assumption then is the double 5-mans are going to hop inside the Rhino. The big 10-man is probably going to be joined by the Biologist Putrefier and the Foul Blight Spawn, and then we also have a Plague Bus on this side here. Like, that is going to be my guesstimate. And then Lord of Virulence is going to join the Blight Lords, LOC is going to join the Death Shroud, Tallyman's going to sit solo on home. So just confirm if that is my correct on my assumptions there, Kobe. I keep saying Cody, I'm sorry. It's Kobe. There we go. You guys there. Right, let's make this a little bit nicer. There we go. Okay, so this is what I've got here. Right, no worries. Weekend Wargaming, don't worry, we'll do yours then after this one, no problemo. So, you're saying that you basically feel like you should be trying to get in another long-range unit. So, what I'm going to say to you here is, as I look at the list right now, obviously you've got your little loan up here, which kind of normally would be like, okay, you 100% need a Rhino, and I still would like a Rhino on my 10-man, but I imagine this big 10-man, because you've got a Foul Blight Spawn, its main purpose is basically just to stock up either on your natural objective or in middle somewhere, and just use that aura and that fight first potential to heroic in, threat and things like that. If that's the case, that's fine, because the scout move is going to let you reach that mid-board position. You scout, you move, you advance. Only one guy to touch the objective back on your home for you to be able to get loan up, for example. That's really good. So, that's pretty cool. Then we've got a Plague Bus here with 2 5-man Plague Marines. This is probably going to be playing the more standard, like, shoot out 5 guys at a time. These guys are probably just going to be trying to flip primaries and things like that. Then we've got our, obviously the Plague Bus is the Plague Bus and does Plague Bus things. We've got our Blight Lord Brick, which I'm going to assume starts on the board, or maybe not. It's been an interesting one, this, because you've already got this big 10-man Plague Marine Brick, so I could actually see this potentially also starting in reserves, but you do have access to that Assault on demand, well, always. So starting them on the board is not a problem, because you have Scout, plus the ability to move, advance, and shoot, which is really cool. So do like that. Obviously got a lot of, this is just bare basic in every single list here, so I do like that. And you got a little bit of a skirmishing piece here as well, bit of Poxwalkers here, which are really good for guaranteeing you getting your scout off. Now, you're saying to me basically you feel like you need a little bit more shooting here. So, that's an interesting one, because I feel like when it comes to your shooting, so he starts on the board most time, no worries. So, Flyblown Host is strange because the problem is, like, I need to know if you're playing this as kind of like a pressure. Like, you've been saying you've been doing well with it and having some nice wins. Are the wins coming from when you're taking more of a control-focused aspect or when you're doing a pressure-focused build? Because if you're doing a pressure-focused build, you actually might hurt your list more by trying to fit in these ranged aspects. Now, what I could say is, instead of doing the build there, if you were going for a more pressure build, I would potentially drop like one of these Plague Marine units. I also need to know if you bang on 2k or if you're like a little bit under, because like I would try like to get like another like normal bloat drone would be really good, because they're just much better skirmish units because they're just more annoying to kill with and deal with, and you can still have your 5 Marines in the Plague Bus. The reason I only like 5 mans in my Plague, not sorry, 1 5-man in my Plague Bus, because when I have 2 5-mans, I feel like my Plague Bus feels more pressured to be in positions to make the 5-mans get a value. Because if I don't, I'm wasting 180 points. If I've only got 1 5-man in there, then I don't feel as pressured to do something as early with my Plague Bus. Sometimes it's more beneficial to hang the Plague Bus back and wait for a response. But if you've got 190 points of Plague Marines in there, sometimes you can feel it forced more to put it close to your enemy's natural, for example, to shoot out those Plague Marines and try and get the value out of them. Whereas with just a 5-man in there, I can kind of hold back and be like, okay, I can kind of like accept the fact that maybe these Plague Marines are getting a bit wasted for now, but it's only 95 points. Whereas with the second in there, again, it makes it more. With those guys out, with the extra like little points you've got potentially there, you could this is a Flyblown Host list, Mr. P1K Nerpster. If you can find like the 5 points, for example, like you could get this up there to have the capacity to have, again, I don't know if you have bang on 2k, but to have a second bloat drone in here would be a lot more better at skirmishing. It allows you to still be 3 to use this thing in sort of a skirmishing role without having to worry about wasting the Plague Marines, and you'd still have that forward pressure that can act independently of the Rhino, which is nice. But again, this is if we're talking about a pressure build here. Now, if you talk about a pressure build, that's like putting quite a bit forward. These guys are obviously going to push forward. These are your big anchor. These guys can push into the middle. You're going to -1 to hit come stealth, -1 to wound from a blight hauler. Just kind of keep them chugging that way. And then basically kind of overwhelm your opponent with the rest of your list by just being aggressive into them. But if, Kobe, you are playing more of a sort of like a standard like control list, then having some extra shooting elements in there would probably be more helpful. If that's the case, then that's more of an interesting one. It's quite a hard one to sort of come across there, because you don't have too much. Again, it depends. So what I would say is, if you were okay, so it is mostly pressure build, right? I don't know then if you would actually benefit from having the HBL drones. They're good, but I feel like this here creates more pressure, because you got to remember, everything that stays back is less pressure going forward. Now, I could make an argument that you should probably pick one of these bricks. And like that probably would be like, again, it's less risky if you just had one brick. But if again, I need to know how good this 10-man brick is doing in sort of like your meta. If this guy is being an absolute menace for the kind of opponents you've got, because that foul blight spawn, giving him that fight first, etc., is getting lots of value, then obviously by means keep it. If it was like me off the top of my head, if you did want to put in some shooty things, you would probably have to sacrifice a brick, because outside of that, and again, the more you do that, you're then taking away from like Flyblown, because the drones and stuff are good, but the problem with the drones is that they don't give you any, they don't get any rule literally from Flyblown Host. You gotta remember that as well. You don't get anything. Like, they're not infantry, so they can't scout. They're not gonna get stealth because they're not infantry. And there's very little stratagems that they can also make use of in it. I don't even know if they can make use of any of them. So the 10-man Plague Marines are very hit and miss. So that could be like somewhere you could potentially look at, like sort of swapping out if you wanted a bit more range contingent. Because again, let's just get the original list back so we don't start getting confused with things. Let me just put these back here. You're not in it. So the one thing that makes Flyblown Host really good is the sort of the ability to make your units really annoying. It's quite a lot anti-shooting. So the fight first is nice, but you could also make an argument for, because I mean, this is what, 190, 190 plus these characters, that's 60, 75, plus he's got the extra enhancement on him, so he's 80. Let me just double check the list of him. So you got 190 in there, plus the 85, so that's going to be 275, plus the other 75, so 350. That 350 points there is a lot of points. like a hell of a lot of points. Like you could make an argument to have this almost come out and then replace that with 350 points there. Like you could literally get another squad of that, and you'd have change. And even without a character in here, that's still a really scary unit, especially there's 8 of them, especially with 6 of them. So you can have a 6-man brick, which would again have this big pressure turn where you basically then, and again, remember, man, you could potentially then at this point, because you're still floating some points, like that could come out, and then you could put something like a Typhus in there, or an LOV. Probably you've already got an LOV, so not him. You might be able to fit in a second Lord of Contagion potentially, but like even a Typhus would still be good. And then just have this full-on pressure where it's basically these guys start on the board, and yeah, you're a little sparse at first, but if you then on turn 2 just send it, so these 5-man Plague Marines come out to spread contagion, this blood drum pushes forward, you can then just slam down all of this in your opponent's face at once, so you can have all this. And the thing is, because these guys have that T7, because they have that 4-up invulnerable save, and because of that 2-up save as well, they're a lot more resilient in terms of like when you stack the layers of debuffs on them. The more layers of defenses that you have on it is going to make them even more annoying to deal with. The Plague Marines do like having -1 to wound and -1 to hit. It is good for them, but point for point, that unit is just far less durable than something like Death Shroud or Blightlord Terminators, for example. And in this instance here, like, yes, you will lose the fight first. That is the only thing that's like sort of is a bit thingy there. But again, with Typhus in here with the -1 to be hit, it kind of makes up for that a little bit because you got a bit more defensive play there because you're -1 to hit. So, but this obviously does mean that you have to put a lot more off the board at the start because you'll be like, again, you'll have this in reserves with this other squad over here. And the cool thing about this is if you do run into anything like a Catan, you can just swap the squads around, have the LOC go in there, Typhus join the 3-man, and now you have an answer to a Catan because this squad can really hurt it. So it gives you some optional plays and just kind of, again, makes you a little bit more redundant, but it does reduce your kind of unit capacity because you are losing this extra 5-man here. So if you're finding good use out of your 5-mans, I would be a little hesitant to also potentially do that because, again, now we're still looking at bricks. Now, there is an argument to be made that you could just go, like, again, something like this without the character and just maybe go, like, 2-3-mans. And their job is just purely run solo, run them as pressure pieces. Just pure pressure pieces. Now, you're also floating 30 points. It means you can keep this second 5-man squad in here. You're floating 30 points, so you can pick up an enhancement somewhere else, I suppose, on someone. Obviously, he'd be LOC at this point again. So like this would also potentially like work, and again that would then still allow you to then drop that, pick up this if you wanted to, and because the Death Shroud don't need the characters to get that extra durability. Now the LOC does become a big pain in the ass in this attachment because, as you understand, the 4-up feel no pain with the character with the guys attached, and with the and with the -1 to hit, -1 to potential wound, they're just super annoying to trade into with the 4 wounds. So even at 160 points, the only problem is they do lose quite a bit of damage output without having a lot of contagion there, but they still will beat up most things. So you could do something like this, have this be the one that goes for like the actual kills on squads. These two just become completely annoying and just be an absolute pain in the ass for people to deal with. Because again, they're still going to be -1 to hit, they're still going to be stealth, they've still got 6-inch deep strike. You can just come in, put a lot of pressure on your opponent, and this also means you get to, like I said, keep your potential Plague Marines. So now you're getting a lot of Plague Marines, a lot of infantry that's all going to be -1 to hit constantly. They also still really like the 6-inch piling and what's it called? Consolidate. The cool thing you can do with this as well is now because you have this squad and you have a bare bones 3-man, you can double team a squad. So if there's an enemy unit of, I don't know, so let's say, let me just grab something real quick just to show this as an example. This will do it, yeah. So like these guys here are like this, like that. This is a, I don't know, Lehman Russ or something, they're guardsmen. This Lehman Russ is here. You can now drop in 6 inches away from this unit. You charge in with your first LOC. They come into like here. Obviously, you're going to have to base to base. I apparently have 8 a guy. Please do not do that game. So we do that, the base to base. Second squad makes their 6-inch charge, comes down here. This squad swings first, fully kills the screen, like that. And now the second squad can use the stratagem, because they're still eligible to fight, for the 6-inch piling and consolidate. Then they go into measure movement. And then these guys can then come down 6 inches to here, get within an inch of this tank, and now you can swing and pop that tank as well. And that's going to be much easier to set up with when you have more units that can drop in and sort of go in together. Whereas if you've just got the one squad of Death Shroud Terminators, that combo is going to be quite hard to pull off because you're going to need to get one of these 5-mans in range to clear that screen in melee, or if you're going to have to use this 10-man Blight Lords to do it. And I just feel like it adds that extra layer of being able to set yourself up for those crazy, because that is kind of the thing that makes this super annoying. And again, you can even do this. You can even just go bop that to there. So attach that there, bring another 3-man in. You're still floating 30 points. You got a big 6-man, a big 10-man. That 3-man for utility play there, and you've still got your 2 5-mans. Like, if you're going for a pressure build, this is probably what I'd be looking at more than the 10 Plague Marines with the characters here. Because I feel like people don't like stuff like Death Shroud getting in your face, and you've got the perfect tool for punishing people who push out screens with the Blight Hot, with the Plague Bus, and you've also got this guy here. These are also really good for stopping people pushing screens out, because the overwatch of that unit is also absolutely horrendous. So I think this is probably where I'd end up with mine, to be honest, Kobe, and just keep it pressure playing. If you were feeling like the Plague Marines were a bit hit and miss, try and just go with a bit more of a Terminator heavy build in Flyblown, see how that goes. Because again, remember, if you're worried about, the good thing as well is if you're worried about coming against melee rushdowns or other pressure lists, there's nothing saying you can't just deploy these units on the board, because you've got Scout. So, you know, if you get first turn Scout, you can scout 5, then move 5 with Death Shroud and then advance. So Death Shroud are basically a jump pack unit for the first turn, which is pretty damn good. So I think that's probably where my head would be at for this one, Kobe. Hopefully that sort of like explains why I would go a bit more into the Death Shroud Terminator route rather than the Plague Marine route. But I do still like these utility 5-mans. I think they can be good. Again, this second 5-man could potentially swap out to a drone. I think you'll be floating a few points on this, so just have a look at other potential enhancements, for example. Because bear in mind, you can still put the enhancement on this on like anything else you've got here. It's not really much else. I can't remember what the last one is for the enhancement. I know there's the Lone Op, the for heal to fall, give everything assault. There's one more. Actually, can't quite remember. But yeah, give it a whirl. See what you can do, a bit more of a Terminator heavy build, and see what other changes you can make there, mate. Well, thank you very much for submitting that, Kobe. Really appreciate it. Right, so then we next up we have we said there we go, Weekend Wargaming, and also SLC Cypher. Thank you so much for coming to Plague Marine, mate. Really appreciate the support. Thank you so much, man. I'm glad you're enjoying that Taliban list. Welcome, and make sure you get yourself in the Discord. So go to our YouTube channel homepage. There'll be a button that says See Perks. Click that. There'll be a link. Get yourself in Discord. Once you're on Discord, go to your Discord settings, connections, link it to your YouTube, and the full server should unlock. And if you get stuck with any of it, give any of the mods a shout or myself, and we'll help you out. Awesome. Right, Weekend Wargaming. Let's have a look at yours, mister. So, let's have a look. Description podcast. Sorry, Dave just messaged me. Righty. Leg surgery. So, let's have a look. So, and just obviously clarify for me, are you the same name inside, inside the, what's the word I'm looking for? Inside the Discord, Weekend Wargaming. Oh, Dirty Clown, there you go. You've already told me, I'm an idiot. Reading helps. Okay, Dirty Clown. There you are, I see you. Okay, so, Virulent Vectorium here. Okay. I have a challenge. Oh, Dispardian's got a challenge list for me. Okay, no worries, Dispardian. You're always giving me fun lists. Right, Dirty Clown. So first up, we have got the classic Demon Prince of Nurgle with Revolting Regeneration. Then we have a Lord of Contagion, which we need to go grab from over here, with the Furnace of Plague, which I'm also just going to grab the Death Shroud because I'm going to need them, no doubt. So, let me get rid of these guys over here. Goodbye. Another Lord of Contagion with the Demon Weapon of Nurgle. So we've got the double smash characters here. Then we have a Lord of Virulence. I need to go grab him as well. Lord of Virulence. There you are. Good sir. Thank you. And then we also have a double Malignant Plaguecaster and a Tallyman. So it looks like we're going for the Plague Bus and the, So we've got the Plague Bus and a Tallyman here. So there we go, grab them. So it's quite character heavy already. Not that that's the bad thing. VV does have really good characters, especially with that Demon Prince in there. Demon Prince is basically like a mini Morty, so nothing wrong with that. And it does really want its CP, and having these two together means you can have plenty of command points, which is always good. Right, then we need a Chaos Rhino Unit of Chaos Spawn. Now, I was about to say every list should have a unit of Chaos Spawn, but obviously in Flyborn Host, everything is Scout, so you're all Chaos Spawn. So there's no slight on that list at all there. Okay, so we need some Death Shroud Terminators now. We need 2 squads of 3. 1, 2, 3. There we go. 1, 2, 3. Then we have a Fetid Bloat Drum with Heavy Blight Launcher. 3 of those bad boys. Classic. 1, 2, 3. The shooting contingent of the army. Which is, again, really good in VV. The ability to mark a target, reroll all shot amounts. Double Mythic Blight Hauler. Skoosh. And then bop bop. And then triple Poxwalkers. So, there we go. And then, there we go. And then let me just make it all a bit prettier. A bit nicer to look at, so it's all a bit neater. All a bit more togetherness. Okie dokie. So, Chaos Spawn at the front here. Rhino at the side, because you're going to be joined by the Plaguecasters over there, like that. Tallyman's going to chill right in the middle. You are going to be a solo Lord of Virulence, and then we're going to have 1, 2, and 3. Okie dokie. So, this is it's quite close to being sort of like a standard VV list. So, the way I look at VV is you've got your Death Shroud are really good in VV because the enhancements make the already smashy guys, the Lord of Containers, absolutely smashy. So this is already an incredible amount of damage here in these 2 units alone. Now, triple Poxwalkers is going to be quite important here because you are quite, with them in reserves, you're actually quite open to Rushdown. Now, the Plague Bus is a great counter to Rushdown because, again, Rushdown tends to be performed by things like fast-moving melee units or jump pack units. Plague Bus is really good for punishing that one, so I do like that, which is really cool to see. Now, Chaos Spawn, really important. Again, in here, you can give yourself the extra contagion range for a turn, so they're really important to not throw forward. Normally, we say, like, these guys are for early trades. In this instance here, try and hold them back, be a bit safe with them for a turn. Demon Prince here is good for starting trades off as well. You have got triple Poxwalker, which is really good to see. Just having plenty of options for him to loan up and be able to jump between them on the way to get to sort of mid-board here. Solo LOV is completely fine. I know I see a lot of people sort of come back and forth on Solo LOV. Honestly, they're completely fine. He drops in. He kind of performs a role like Typhus, where he drops in, does an action. But in this instance, rather than dealing D6 mortal wounds, he's just going to guarantee that these guys get to hit some priority targets. So, like, it is a fairly standard VV list. Sometimes you see people lean more towards a Plague Marine build. Sometimes you'll see people lean more towards like a Blight Lord brick in the middle here. Now, is there anything that could potentially sort of be changed to, here to sort of be improved? It kind of depends. Some people will drop down to 2 Blight Lords, go 2-2. The problem with this here is that then devalues this Lord of Virulence, so that would probably make you probably end up dropping the LOV here. Now, some people will just obviously straight swap an LOC for an LOV. That's okay, because then he's also buffing these guys. But if you're going double LOC, I probably would drop both of them there. And then with that, you're floating 200 extra points there. So this is the point where maybe you start seeing people bring in things like, again, some people have started to actually experiment, again, bringing Predators back into the fold to sort of replace that final. So you go like 1 Predator, 2 Blight Launch drones. This is mainly a reaction to Victrix Guard, because then you get the +1 AP, which is then going to help these 2 things deal damage, especially with these Flamers there, getting up to AP2, getting up to AP4 potentially on the Plaguecasters here, which is incredibly nice as well, which is really good. But then the problem becomes that you'll have floating 55 points. Now, at that point there, with a 55 point floating, that's when you start looking at potentially dropping something like Furnace of Plagues. Furnace of Plagues is very good, but it is very expensive. And if you drop that, you do pick up 80 points, which then would probably let you do something like this. So, like, that is a build option. It's where you're basically getting a bit more ease of spreading contagion and a little bit more stacking damage from, like, things for shooting, like, heavy infantry. But, again, it's neither here nor there. Like, the build you have is also incredibly viable. Like, honestly, VV's been figured out for a little bit now, and it's kind of like the combination of, like, some cheap demon engines, mainly, like, 3 to 2 HBL drones, 2 Synthetic Blight Halls, the Demon Prince, double Death Shroud brick, and then it's kind of like flavor to taste after that. So, again, for example, some people will drop this here out, so some people won't take the Plague Bus at all, and again, that could then bring in the Predator, for example, and some other things alongside that. or so really it kind of hello. Why is all the models acting so weird tonight? Everyone's floating around doing all sorts of dances and things. So like really weekend. What kind of matters here is a sort of like playstyle you're having, if you're comfortable with the plague bus and having a good time with the plague bus. Now, like I said, the only other place really to sort of take this is to go with what we're seeing become quite popular recently, which is the 10-man Blightlord brick as well. But again, if you're going to run this, you've got to find 375 points here. So this is probably where you start looking at, like, again, potentially swapping out the plague bus. I've even seen some lists drop to just one Skull of Death Shroud Terminators and trying to fit this thing in. So you'd go like that into there, and then probably drop down to one of the HBL drones. Obviously, then you play around with the rest of your points. Like, I've seen this work before because, again, the lack of shooting there is kind of made up from the Blightlord brick. So there's multiple ways you can take this, and it all kind of depends whether you, one, enjoy the play bus, two, if you are, like, again, if you want to start playing with Blightlords. VV is just good in generic, but the skeleton of VV is as you've got here. Some people even play without the Demon Prince. Like, I think the Demon Prince is pretty damn good. I wouldn't look at giving him up in VV. Just being able to one command point, Disgustingly Resilient, is really good. Or you can bring in a Predator route. But what you've got here as bare bones, which let me just bring it back, like, it's genuinely super solid list. Like, this is super solid. So if you were to go to an event on a solid list, I would be like, that's a pretty damn good list. Like I said, it's not the Blightlord variant. It's not the like more Predator, like brings in a Predator variant, and it's not a Plague Marine variant. Again, you'll also see lists where one of these is dropped out and your Plague Bus is gone, but then you'll have it replaced basically with the LOV will be gone, one of these will be gone, the Plague Bus guys are gone, and that replaced by 10 Plague Marines, for example, with all the bells and whistles. Like, and sometimes they'll even sacrifice Poxwalkers for that, although I do think 3 Poxwalkers is just really good to have. So, like, the list you've submitted, honestly, mate, super solid, super fine. There is absolutely nothing wrong with it. It will do you well. Just play it is what I'd say. And if, again, just see if you are enjoying the Plague Bus. And if not, there are options for you to build in other ways. Plague Bus is a bit more of a finicky thing to play. It's very powerful, but it kind of relies on you to know how to use it a bit more. Obviously, it's just around defensively, whereas like the Blightlord brick, I'm not saying it's dumber by any means, but obviously it has that built-in resilience a bit more with the T7, the 2-up save, the 4-up invulnerable, the 3 wounds each. It can be a little, and it can melee, it doesn't get locked up as easy. So it's just different approaches to the game. But honestly, also if you do this here, so if you do bring in the LOV, for example, with the Blightlords, you don't have to attach them either. So if you did do this, you also don't need to bring an LOV at all for Blightlords, because in this attachment you have one command point, reroll all hits and wounds for shooting for infantry. Death Shroud don't need it. You got no Plague Marines, so they don't need it. So you can just slam it on them, which kind of makes this LOV a little bit redundant with them. But if you do put him with them, you got to bear in mind you are spending saving yourself command points. You still might want to reroll the hit roll though, and the LOV does have the bonus addition of synergizing with these guys here, but you could also potentially run him solo, still doing the job there. So yeah, just a bit of food for thought for you there, mate, honestly. But like, as it stands, super solid list. I wouldn't like be upset with that at all in an event, but just give it a play, see how you're getting on with it. You know, have a look at how your results are going. You've been struggling with primary lately. Okay, so you've been struggling with primary lately. So the way it kind of like, the way it kind of works when it comes to holding primary, because primary is an actual pain in the ass in this. You basically just have to go full pressure into them and put the pressure on them and keep flipping them off their primary. Because basically the idea of what you want to do is, and also if you want to guarantee hold a primary for a turn, I see this happen a lot. So set up a 2-stage thing. So I just need to, so pretend there's just a circle below this here. What some people do is they'll stick you and then they'll just stay on it, because like that's the natural thing to do. You want to hide behind the wall. So imagine there's an L like this, you're just going to position the wall. If you've stickied the thing, just throw an advanced roll out, and if you get a good one, just push the wall out. Just push the wall out and have something else take over it. Provided you're not against anything that like flies or anything like that. Because you've got sticky, if you're against a slow moving army or an army that can't thingy, just by doing that, you guarantee you're going to hold your primary. The cost is you're having to expend a unit to do it, so the Poxwalkers stay behind the wall. Like, yes, they'd be alive, but again, someone could just walk on and take it. So when it comes to using sticky, and again, Chaos Spawn could like take over looking after it, things like that. But just when primary in VV is just a weird one in terms of that. It's more just you can kind of score your primary late by using the sticky then moving off. But what you want to do is basically clear an area of enemies and then push out and away from it, and basically don't fight on the objectives. You want to fight on their objectives and then stick it and then walk away from it and take the fight elsewhere, because then your opponent has to choose between taking your primary off you or fighting you. And if you can make them decide on that, then again, you keep the pressure going on them, keep hitting in hard and doing a lot of things like that. You can bring the Plague Marine brick if you do want, but you do bring in some Plague Marines, like 5-man Plague Marines can do great. So you could potentially here, again, get that 5-man utility pick in there. So again, you could drop out like 1 bloat drone, put in a 5-man. Again, you could even like, you could potentially, you've also got your LOV. Your LOV isn't 100% needed. The reroll shots is really nice, but like he could easily drop out for 5 Plague Marines, because then what you can do is you can make that wall of Poxwalkers infiltrate onto the objective, then you drive up, drop Plague Marines off it, and the Poxwalkers that started on the objective move, advance, and make a move blocking wall. So now you're guaranteed going to hold primary for a turn, and then if you can kill what they've tried to push out with, the OC of the Plague Marines can then become hard to contest with, and then you can like send out a single Plague Caster who stands in the way, so anyone that tries to push you can overwatch, things like that. So that is also some food for thought there you could do. You could easily get 5 Plague Marines instead of the LOV. These guys, like, yes, they like reroll hits. It does make them very good. But if you feel like you're struggling on that prime, you want that OC in there, by all means do that as well. Thank you. But thank you very much for submitting that weekend, mate. Thank you so much, man. Hopefully a little bits of words that can sort of help you out a little bit. You also got your kit spawn, haven't you? There you go. Whoop, the kit spawn. Not forget those buggers. Okay, next up we've got... Phil Gagnon, got my Blight Lord taken care of. Just glad I could. Oh, thank you so much, Phil. I really appreciate it. Again, don't worry, mate. If money ever gets tight, what we always do on this channel, if you remember once, you'll never get kicked from the Discord. You do not have to keep paying membership to stay part of the Discord. If you supported the channel once, you've supported us. You're more than welcome to stay in the Discord, even if your finger runs out. The reason we do having memberships on is because it just keeps the content free. And we don't have we have 1 membership video, but it was only because it was like a test. We weren't sure if it was like a good format, so we just tested it for our members just to see, like, again, they could have input. But it's not actually like a full-on like hour long, but it's like 6 minutes long. So it does, all the memberships do help keep all the content free for everyone. So you are doing a service for the Death Guard community, you could say. Andrew Middlemas, thank you very much for the $5 Canadian there. Thank you so much, mate. I generally play 1K games and don't run named characters in a Taliban list, 1K, would 1 Plague Marine, 1 Plague Bearers, 1 Poxwalker, and 1 Death Shroud be enough? So Taliban's weird. At 1K games are always super weird, because the problem with 1K is you just can't bring everything. So what happens is if you try and build like a balanced list, so you bring like 5 Plague Marines, then some twat shows up with this, and you're like, cool, I lose, I can't deal with this, like, at all. So when you play 1K games, it kind of has to be done in a way where, like, you kind of have to almost a gentleman's agreement, so like no one brings things like that, because it kind of does just skew the game entirely. Because I could say to you, well, technically, Andrew, in 1K games, you can bring 3 Great Unclean Ones and then some Plague Bearers, and then watch how little of your friends are going to have fun against that. What I would say is, when in Taliban, I'd always try and get a unit of 6 Nurglings in. It's only 70 points, and you can bring them back from the dead. So reality is you have 12 Nurglings, which is really good. Now, in terms of Taliban, if you were going to play a 1K list of Plague Marines, Plague Bearers are really good. 1 squad is fine at 1K. If you do bring Plague Marines, for example, what I would try and do here is potentially bring like a Lord of Poxes in 5. He has the extra contagion range, which is really nice for helping set up your Death Shroud to drop in and get those nice charges off, for example. And it also, he can take the Beckoning Blight, so then he can become like the central focus of your army. So if you have him like inside a Rhino, for example, that's a nice little combo. It's not too expensive. It's like 200 something points, but it's then going to enable your Death Shroud to drop in. It's going to enable you to get some nice 5-inch charges off your Plague Bearers, or even Nurglings, just to tie things up and keep pressure on your opponent, and then try and put a little bit of shooting to back it up, whether that's a Plague Bus, like 1 or 2 heavy Blight Launch drones, things like that, mate. But yeah, honestly, like those that like Poxwalkers, Death Shroud, they're all still good in Taliban. Just think about how you're going to sort of like apply it. So like, again, I think a lot of Poxes in Taliban does do a good job, especially in 1K games, because he's much more budget. I normally run like 3 Death Shroud, a Lord of Virulence with the enhancement on him, but obviously that's a 280 point package compared to like this, which is much cheaper for its points cost, 95 plus 70, and then the enhancement. So that is also, like, again, much cheaper. So you're basically trying to look at the 2K list and be like, how can I do what they're doing but cheaper? But 100% try and get 7 Nurglings in there. Okay, so okay, cool. It's thematically centric, so yes, you'll be fine with that. Basically, just try and make sure you have a nice balance. Really good at 1,000 points, Beasts of Nurgle, mate. Beasts of Nurgle for 65 points, 65 points. Toughness 9, 7 wounds, 5 invulnerable. If you don't kill them, they heal to full. They trigger all the rules for Taliban summoners. And it's 65 points. It's so cheap to put into a list. So, like, one of these bad boys, some plague bearers. So, like, if I was to do demons at like a 1K, like that's got that him 10 plague bearers, unit of 6 Nurglings. Like, boom, there's all the demons you need. Like that is plenty enough demons for you to do all the tricks you want to do there, and then you can bring all the rest of your death guard. So it's 110 points for the plague bearers, 70 points for the Nurglings. That's 180 plus this guy here. That's 245 points. You have 755 points to go and spend your death guard. That would be a brilliant start for a Taliban list, and then again, if your friends fancy a challenge, by all means, bring a Great Unclean one. They're really not oppressive or overpowered because they're just too slow to be oppressive. But if your friends fancy a challenge of trying to kill a Great Unclean one at 1K, it can be very, very fun. They can die to mass shots, so it's not like a 2-up save Catan bullshit. But they can be fun, and they're not like obnoxious to take over the game. So if you ever fancied that, you could probably bring a Great Unclean one at 1K and, you know, have a laugh of it, because lethal hits kill it. Like, anything like sort of mauls for it. But again, always, like I said, always talk to your opponent if you're going to bring something like that. But yeah, hopefully that helps you out there, mate. No worries, Andrew. Appreciate it, mate. Then we've also got Phil Gagnon prepping for a triples event on the 31st January. Wish me luck. Blightlord tournaments with LOV doing really well in my cock. I think Blightlords have been great for a long time. The second you shoot them, they shoot so hard. It's like, why is this doing so much damage? It's really, really funny. So I'm glad to know your Blightlord team is doing well, especially in COC where you can make them T9s really annoying. And best of luck at your triples event as well. Triples? Do you mean like doubles but 3 players a team, or do you mean like a team's 3-player event? Would be interested to see that. Right, so that's Weekend Wargaming. Who did we have next? I did say there was going to be someone else here. Who did I say? Where did I put that? I swear to God, I saw someone else's name. Let's fill Despard. Yeah, Despard's got a challenge to me, so we might do his if there's no one else. There we go. Terraax. Hey, Aiden, if you get a chance, I posted 1,500 point. Okay, it's Tallyman. Cool. Tallyman list. And David Ritchie. Right, we'll do these two guys. So we're gonna do Terraax and David Ritchie. Perfect. Right, Terraax. Let's go for you, mate. So I'm gonna hopefully your name is the same. Terraax. Let's have a look. Just put it in Blight Surgery. No problem. The Blight Surgery channel the other week. Let's have a look. Terraax. That's Kyle. Right. I can. Terraax, there you go. Found you, mate. Okay. Hi, just played my second newbies tournament and came second 3-0 with VV. Hell yeah. Well done, man. Excellent work. Smashing it. Oh my God, Phil, I've done one of those events before. They are so much fun, mate. They're so much fun. The absolute blast. I did that I did it with my friends. Oh God, it was like 3 years ago now or something. They are really fun. I completely forgot those kind of events exist. They're so fun though. Right. So well done on going 3-0 and taking second with VV. Excellent. You're thinking of giving Taliban to go. So 1,500 point list. All right. Let's get into it then. So bringing up first, we've got a Lord of Contagion. Let's go steal one from over here. I'm going to steal the Death Shroud preemptively because they normally come with. So we've got a Lord of Contagion, then we have a Lord of Virulence with the Beckoning Blight. Yes, it's very good. We're obviously going to want that. Then we have Rotty Man himself, so I need to open up my objects. I don't know what the hell that is. Where are we at? Taliban, there we go. Boop, there we go. Rotigus, stupid good. Still stupid good. 15 points can't slow him down, although I genuinely don't think he needed it, I'll be honest with you. I think he was fine at 250. But hey, 15 points ain't going to break the bank. And we got double Death Shroud Terminators, a 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Yep, we like to see that. Then we have 10 Poxwalkers, 10 Poxwalkers, 1, 2 Blight Launch Drones. So Poxwalkers. Like this. Bop, bop. Then we have, let's say, 2 HBL drones, 1 Beast of Nurgle, 1 Chaos Spawn. So Chaos Spawn. 1 Beast of Burgle, really good combo. Nurglings of Doom, Nurglings of Doom, there's Doom, Nurglings of Doom. And then we also have the HBL drones, that was it. Okie dokie, right. So, on this list here, I'm in a mindset. I'm not in a mindset because it's a bad list. I'm in a mindset because I'm thinking, what I need to understand if there's a weird points limit, because normally you can only have 1,000 points in Deep Strike at a 2k game, and I don't know if they're carrying that over to your event, because obviously 1.5k list, they might change the limit, but if it is, we just got to bear in mind our sort of Deep Strike limit here, because we've got 265 here, this squad is 280, and this squad here is 280 as well, so you've got 2 squads of 280 here, and then you've also got Rockets here, so yeah, you'll be fine on that. These guys are all going to start on the board. You're probably going to want these 3 Nurglings in Deep Strike as well. Now, one thing I really want to see here, honestly, is Plague Bearers. Plague Bearers are so good in this detachment. They are... Sticky is very, very good. 5-inch charge from Deep Strike with OC 20 in the squad is incredibly good. It's like one of the best units that you can bring for demons here. So I would like to see some Plague Bearers in this list potentially, but getting them is a little hard because the Tallyman actually isn't that needed. He's good, don't get me wrong, but the problem with the Tallyman is that he's good if you got 50 points, but he doesn't. The strats aren't the best part of Taliban. Like, they're really nice, but you don't have to. You don't have to spend like the strats. So it's like you're not going out your way to try and generate more CP. I'm just about to sneeze. Give me 2 seconds. Oh, bloody allergies. Right. So if you are going to keep the Taliban, because obviously he sits on your home objective, which is pretty good, but we do have Nurglings here, and now they can't hold objectives. Now the problem with that is they could do if we had. Oh, sorry about that. If we had some Sticky, because Sticky doesn't care once it's taken, you can hold it. And one thing I like to do is if I can't make a second wave of obnoxious Nurglings to block things in, I'll sometimes just bring in my 3-man home or resurrect this unit on home, strung out after I've stickied it. So for me, pure utility-wise, I would genuinely like drop both of those for a single unit of Plague Bearers. And the points actually like come perfect to that. It's 50 plus 65, so it's 115, which is 110. Now, I'm not sure if this list is bang on 2k 1,500 or if it's like 1,495. If that gives you 5 points floating, 100% go and pick up Fell Harvester on this guy. For 10 points, Fell Harvester is absurd. Like, really, really absurd. Like, what it can sort of achieve there. Because 7 attacks is such a crazy breakpoint number, and just absolutely smashes things to pieces. When he goes in, it's like he's got like crit 5 or something. It's kind of mad. Now, you do still have 1 unit of Pox, because you've still got some Infiltrate. You've got tons of Infiltrate here. Realistically, let's do it again. This is your list realistically. So you have tons of play here. Like this already, I think I like the look of more. Because now you've got that sticky objects in here, and again, you can gauge this off how important it's going to be. If you think you're going to get into a game where it's going to be a big stalemate, and it's going to be far more important to take your opponent off primary, you can stick these guys in reserves and still just put something on home objective. Like the Beast of No can just sit at home. There's nothing wrong with that, because you can just play the spawn up forward, deep striking some Nurglings behind them to extend the contagion range. There's nothing wrong with that. Like, that is completely a fine play as well. But what this does is then it allows these guys to do 5-inch charges from Deep Strike, break that sort of stalemate that's happening on the primary. So you're holding yours, they're holding theirs, no one wants to commit. Suddenly now you come down with these squads here, break the stalemate, because obviously then get some 6-inch charges off, and you obviously then do a 5-inch charge unconditionally, because you don't need contagion range to do that. In those kind of matchups, what I'd actually do, again play against Eldar, I actually detach the Lord of Virulence, so that means I can just have him drop in solo, 9 inches away from the enemy, set up the Rotagus or the Plague Bearers to go in from 6-inch charges and 5-inch charges, and that can sort of break stalemates alone, and then when the fight starts happening, you've still got all this to still come in and do a bunch of damage. For me, I think the Plague Bearers are too good to pass up. I think just having sticky objectives in this, and especially at 1,500 points where you have less units to play with, sticky actually becomes better. Like, imagine you're playing a 500-point game. Everyone's only got 4 units. Sticky is broken because now your opponent wants to hold 2 objectives. They can't play with 2 of the 4 units. You've stickied them both. You get to play with 4. So now you have 4v2 on the midboard. And the second they start losing that then, and you sticky the middle now, you can keep pushing. Like, sticky is very good the smaller the points get down. So playing at 1,500 points, having access to some sticky is actually going to be really, really good for you. So, for me, honestly, I think, like, this is sort of where I'd go. You could also make an argument for, like, HBL drones going out, but I do feel like 2 HBL drones is just a good enough amount of shooting to make people have to sort of respect you, not deploy on the line and be absolutely obnoxious, which is really nice. You still got jail tech here because you got Nurglings to do a bunch of jailing here. Poxwalkers can infiltrate up and just secure some early primary, score some early secondaries. You've got the dynamic duo of the Beast and Nurgle plus the Chaos Swarm for that sort of contagion spreading. And then you've got the huge drop of the double Death Shroud plus Rotagus plus potential Plague Bearers to have all that pressure. It's got all the fundamentals of building like a solid control-based Taliban list. Obviously, you can go the opposite route. We always say there's 2 kind of Taliban's list. One built around deep strikes, which is like this one, where it's more about control. And then you have Big Fat Chungus, which is, again, like, just bring some great and clean ones, bring Chungus, and bring a lot of Demon Energy, just try and eschew someone out of hell. So, for me, there's probably one change I'd make for you. Like, you could even argue, like, this Nurgling potentially could be, like, the thing that goes instead, because that would be 40 points onto your 165 here. So, if you really wanted the Tallyman, you could do this as well, which is something like that. Let me delete that. This comes back in. But again, it depends if you bang on the points or not. I'm not 100% sure. So you could potentially do something like that. Because that would also do it. So you get rid of... so you have... One moment. Oh, God. Brain. So Tallyman goes out. Yeah, because at the moment I've got rid of Tallyman and Poxwalkers. Yeah. So you could do Poxwalkers and Nurglings because he's 40. They're 65. It's 105. That allows you to keep your Tallyman because you've already got 12 Nurglings. The extra 3 is not going to make or break it, but I do like the utility of being able to... Again, these 3 can stop things falling back, stuff like that. So it's bang on, yeah. So you might have to do what I said then, which would be, like, again, this kind of build here without the Tallyman. So that there would probably where I'd sort of go with it, personally, mate. Hopefully that's... hopefully the explanation for why I do that makes sense, Terraax. But I feel like the sticky is very, very important tool to have in those kind of like control-based Taliban lists, and especially at the smaller points games, it just gets exponentially more powerful. And also, Plague Bearers just get more done than Poxwalkers in general. You have a guarantee, you have a great delivery system. You have again 5-inch charge deep strike is really good. The OC is far better than the Plague Bearers. The Poxwalkers. Your leadership's better. You're harder to kill with that 5 vulnerable and 2 wounds each. So yeah, for me, this is where I would go with this one, Terraax. So hopefully that is good. But thank you very much for submitting it. A cool to see Taliban. What have we had tonight? Taliban VV and Flyblown host. Hell yeah, I love a bit of variation. Right, last up then tonight. So we said, I'll be honest again, I'm getting Nurgle again because I have Chaos Knight and no one loves me. Well, Robert, that's your fault for playing Chaos Knights. We're judging you. No, I get it. If that's your favourite army, it does suck when people like dislike playing against your favourite army. So, you know, imagine how Tau players feel. Now, the difference is Chaos Knights are cool and Tau players are not. So you're not a Tau player. I would never insult you as much for calling you a Tau player. But it does always suck when the army that you enjoy playing is, again, like when Death Guard was strong and everyone was whinging. And it's just like, oh, I'm sorry, Death Guard's been D-tier for like 4 editions and we finally get good and now we're the problem. Right, who did I say then would be up last? So, there we go, David Ritchie, TG Addict on Discord, or TCG Addict. God, I actually, I don't know. Do you play Magic the Gathering, Mr. TCG Addict? I imagine you do. I went and picked up a Lorwyn Collector's Booster pack, and I actually managed to pull a foil Goblin Sharpshooter and a foil Vibrance. Which I am very happy with. Very cool little pulls there. Anyone that doesn't play Magic, that made no sense to any of you, don't worry about it. Right, TCG Addict. Go! There we go. Oh god, it's a PBC list. Good lord, we got Mortarian's Hammer. We're really going that variety tonight, aren't we? What? Oh, so this is your reminder to Yeah, Phil, no problem. Next podcast we can 100% talk about your cock. That is more than fine. I will be the cock inspector for you. Do not worry. Please walk into my office and lower your pants. Right. So let's do this one here. I at least choose chaos. That is true. You do choose chaos. You do. So Mortarian's Hammer. So we got again Lord of Contagion. You'd almost think this guy was really good. Another Lord of Contagion. You'd almost think this guy is really good. Lord of Virulence. Tendril Submissions. So that's the Lone Up and reroll 1 to wound for the vehicles nearby. And the Tallyman. 1 Destructor. Where's my Destructor gone? It's down here somewhere. Would you like the white or the green Destructor? I'll let you pick. You can pick your Destructor colour. And then 2 squads of Death Shroud Terminators. You'd almost think they're good or something. Then we have 2 HBL drones with their Blight Launchers. Boop, boop. And then we have them, my beloved. Unnerf them, GW. Unnerf them. Oh, my beloved. And we also have 2 Mythic Blight Haulers. Free them from their enslavement. They deserve it. Right. We actually don't know, Matt. I'm hoping it's soon, mate. I'm really hoping it's soon that the Val Victorium, because I do think that box is genuinely a brilliant addition to anyone that's starting Death Guard or has it, is interested in getting into it. Paladin always looks better than the plain green. Oh, you hurt my soul, but it is his list, so it's going to be the green for Nurgle. I do admit I do like the Paladin scheme, and I've wanted to repaint my Death Guard for ages, but it's the thought process of starting everything again is just like, oh man. You went back to Death Guard because that's what you got shown Warhammer 40k during 4th. Well, welcome back to the Legion. We've missed you, but again, we were always welcome in Nurgle's Garden. Right, so this list, it's small. Now, that is the nature of the beast. Unfortunately, GW has took our small little Plague Burst Crawlers outdoors and shot them in the head. Now, you are 30 points floating, but it's unfortunately the sort of nature of the beast. Now, there is a thing to be said for, like, 2 PBCs, but given that the list called PBC spam, I'm guessing that means you kind of want to make the PBCs work. Now, if you want to make the PBCs work, what's the best way of going about this? So, we definitely need screens. We definitely need at least 2 units of Poxwalkers, because if we don't have them, we're going to get ran down, and it's going to be real bad. Now, Double Lord of Contagion Death Shroud is really good, obviously, because you can just pick and choose what you want. There's nothing wrong with that. But we need to, again, you also need to know your meta as well, because if you're not in a meta where there's if you're in a meta where there's a lot of melee rush down, or you go into tournaments, so you could need to be prepared for anything, screens are going to be super important. Like and this is the biggest problem with, if this was like a list, if this could be done, great. This would honestly be fine. Because again, okay, so you're open to dropping PBC, because the problem is, if we drop a single PBC, we can instantly technically do this, which is instantly just going to give you so much more like protection and play on the map, and just the ability to like sort of play the game, because you're no longer get ran down. You've got lots of things that can do actions. You've got lots of infiltrating screen. You've also got those high push up there. You're expected to see Catan. So Catan are honestly just such a pain. I'm going to say it right now. I think Catan are going to get nerfed, more so because, not because that they can't be dealt with, but more so because they are going to make everyone's list have to answer that annoying question of, can you kill Catan? And I think the Pantheon of Woe is genuinely oppressive and unfun to play against, because 5 Catan is just obnoxious. So I think it might get nerfed for being obnoxious and playing against it. But like, even if we drop one of these, we can instantly bring even just 2 squads of Poxwalkers. Like, you could argue the 3rd. You could also technically drop a Tallyman. So like, if you wanted to even keep this, like that there, because you are floating 30 points, like that there is doable, and at least gives you a screen. Like, at least gives you a screen, which is not bad. Now from there, you could also potentially, again, the heavy hitters is hard to sort of work around, because the problem with it is that outside of champions, it's really hard to kill a Catan. You're basically praying. You're basically hoping and praying that you sneak a metal gun through and you're all high on damage and doing a bunch in one shot. Even these guys here, they can do some okay damage to it, but they're just not going to kill it. That is the nature of Catan. Basically, to kill Catan reliably, you need a unit that is like Melter with plus reroll all hits and wounds and damage rolls, aka eliminate his fire dragons. It's that unfortunately is not something we have access to, and that's just something we've got to deal with. The best way for us to deal with Catan is to kill the things around it. Now, the cool thing that this list can do is, with the PVCs, you can kill all their scoring shit. Because when people spam Catan, they don't have much points left. So they're going to bring like solo destroyers, 5 flayed ones, who are just going to score all the things for them. They're going to leave nothing on the home objective because, again, and this list can actually punish that because they don't have many units, they're all spread out. You can pick the lone Coom command badge on the home objective and then just 6-inch deep strike it and kill it. And now they don't have home. You could indirect off that Locust Heavy Destroyer that was holding the primary on their secondary. And you kill that. And the rest of it, just focus on like trying to get one of the Catan down or just constantly denying them primary. That is more than like enough to sort of get you the advantage you'll need to win. Now, if you are against Catan and you're worried about Catan, I would say from here, I'd probably, if you wanted to, again, it all depends where you will go. So I would, because you got PBCs, you also can just put one on your home objective, which means you don't need the Taliban. And the CP is not super important for Batarian's Hammer. It's nice to have, not necessary, so you don't need it. So, like, that already gets you some, gets you in there. So, him out gets you some Poxwalkers with the floating 30 points you've got. Now, from here, I would probably drop the Destructor if you're worried about Catan, things like that. It just doesn't do enough against it. And I think it's for less points, just pick yourself up a 3rd Bloat Drone. It's got an invulnerable. Yes, the extra AP can help with the mortars, but again, the mortars are probably going to be shooting things you can't see, which means it's going to be things that the Predator Destructor can't see, so you're not really going to get the extra bonus AP. Now, when you can, it's going to be nice, don't get me wrong, but honestly, AP3 with -1 save from these Blight Launch drones is going to be enough to put the hurt on most things, and they're just a bit more reliable, especially when you've got the LOV in here as well, who kind of wants to just be marking targets for them. Also saves you 25 points there. So you got 25 points there. You're floating 15 points already because we had to use 65 from the 80. So that's going to get you another 40 points there. So you're already looking like you're still floating 40 points here at this point. We do have Shriekworm Familiar on one of these guys. So let's have a look. Shriekworm Familiar. There you go. Yeah, that's 15 points. That's 55 points there if you drop that. So now I'm 55 points. For 55 points, like, again, you're looking real close. Like, you can even, at that point, you can even put your Tallyman back in. Boys before toys is always the rule, I'd always say. Because now you can, again, the PVCs are more free to play up because this guy can come in and just sit on there. Free Overwatch is nice, don't get me wrong, but you don't have to worry about that so much. Like, again, if you want to Overwatch, you're probably going to spend it. Would you do one PVC with las cannons and one with spitters? So I always like to go 2 and 1 if I'm running 3. So I'd always go like 2 entropy 1 spitters, just because like the spitter can like push a bit more, be a bit more aggressive, sort of defend itself a bit as well. But if this list was now to go something like this and take this out, so now we've got 2 PVCs, so now we're floating 210 points. Like, that gives us a lot of things that we can put in. So like, again, we're already floating like 10 points from the from before, so we've got 220 points. You could bring in another unit of Poxwalkers here. That's 60, so we're still floating like a 150-ish. So at 150 points, again, what could you bring in? You could have a deterrent. You could bring, you could even bring something like, again, if you just want to be like, hey, here's gunline plus deterrent, like, you can bring a carnivore. Like, carnivore, honestly, a carnivore, like, because of how it works with Catan, the D6 plus 2 damage can potentially one-shot. It can. You average 6 hits, you average 4 wounds. If it fails 2 of its saves, you're going to do an average of like 8 damage to it. But again, you have sustained hits. 4-ups can be spiky, but and then you can impact mortal wounds it as well. So you have a chance to do like 2 mortal wounds. So you can do about 10 damage to a Catan on its own. And if you spike those damage, if you save a CPU roll for the damage, then you can average, spike higher. Like if you get a single 6 damage roll, that's 7 damage to that Catan. Like you can do quite a bit of punch into it. And it's more, it just makes it think twice. Like, it probably isn't going to one-shot it. Like, it's realistically not going to, because feel more pains and whatnot. But you can make them sort of, like, have it as, like, a linebacker to sort of defend. Because, again, we're talking about screens here. And we've got a good amount of shooting here. Good amount of melee. The one thing that you still don't want is to be ran down. So, you could potentially put in a unit that stops you being ran down. Whether that be, like, this. It could even be, I can't even recommend a fucking Hellbrute. But even, like, a Hellbrute. Even like a Hellbrute just chilling. Like a Hellbrute can just chill, sort of, again, it can move through walls, it can activate, gets +1 to wounds, so it wounds Catan on 2s, hits on 3s, wounds on 2s, d6 +1 damage on its hammer, so down to d6, but it can, again, wounded on 2s is pretty damn good. If you manage to soften that with anything, then you can try and go for that to try and kill one. I think it kind of goes against, it kind of works like in this way. If you are against 5 Catan spam, you're gonna rather have the third PBC, because your only hope of winning that is killing all the scoring things and then just playing around it all. If you are instead against like 1 Catan or 2 Catan, having something like this, one of these like sort of punchy threats to try and kill it, is probably going to do you better, because then you still have indirect to threaten things, but you have a bit more things to sort of play around the board. Punish the Catan, kill the Catan, and then play around that as more of a normal game. Because like with that out there, 2 10 points, like one of these comes in 130, you can still get like another squad of Poxwalkers, for example. There's quite a few things you could go for it from there. So I'd argue what matters more to you. Would you rather have the more indirect and just try and shoot at like the scoring pieces of those kind of lists and deal with it that way, and then trying again? Because you gotta remember, against those lists where it's like 5 Catan, your pick and choose contagion is massive, because if they want to stop you dropping where you want to, they have to keep 3 units together, because you can always pick 2, so they have to keep 3 together. So if they want to stop you dropping on their home field, they have to put 3 of their units on that home field objective together. Because if they don't, you'll just pick 2. If they put 2 on there, you just pick them both and then drop in. So it's kind of like that mindset. So I need to understand, like, do you think you'll be running against 5 Catan often, or do you reckon more it would be just like the average odd Catan stuff? So dealing with the scoring, let's say. So like that there is perfectly fine. Like that there, I just drop the Predator, get your what do you call it? So get one of these back in like 20 odd points. So this is what I think he was out at this point. Like that there, I would much prefer. Just because I think that gives you a bit more of an ability to play like the average game. Stops you getting ran down as easily. You've still got a good bunch of damage here. You've still got the deep strike threat potential, and the indirect is still absolutely horrendous. That there was probably the best you're going to get with the triple PBC. I won't lie for you, it's hard out there at the moment. Those points nerfs came in really, really hard. So the problem with the Melter, Rob, the Melter is good if it goes through, because D6 plus 4 damage, but you've only got 2 shots. So it's much easier for them to bounce heal on average past one of them, and then when you'll 100% spend a CP to roll the other. With the Fist, you at least put on average about 4 wounds on him, so even if he fails like 2 of them and decides CP 1, there's like a chance he still takes like D6 plus 2 damage. The Melter is just far, like, if the Melter had more shots, it'd be a lot more reliable. But with only the 2 shots though, the Fist, especially because it's got sustained as well, has a chance to just pop off. Like if you roll it, get all hits because you're a wizard, but you still manage to get 2 sustained in there, like 8 hits now. Ooh, now we're putting 6 wounds on it. Now it's going to fail on average 3 of them. So now on average going to deal 12 damage to it with the Fist. But again, one of them could spike. It's got much more potential to one shot, and when it comes to Catan, it's basically all about the one shot. You can't chip a Catan down. You have to kill it. Like these PBCs, please do not shoot them at Catan. If you come across Catan, shoot the scoring units. You know what you're doing. Kill them, playing around, then play around with like taking off the primary with the Death Shroud, things like that. But yeah, Mortari's Hammer is in a rough spot, not because it's bad. It's just because it's more so PBC is just in a rough spot because I mean GW. They can't balance indirect, so they just nerf it into the dirt. They should not be 210 points. They are not a 210 point unit in a million years. Like an Exorcist is 210 and has D6 damage indirect at AP3. Way better. So yeah. But yeah, hopefully though, that would make me feel more comfortable. Just a bit of screens in there, and that allows you to keep your short PVC. So just get those screens in there, stops you being ran down, and I think that'll be a great place for you to be. No worries, man. Appreciate it, David. A big Nurgle fan. My wife likes to play EC. Should I be worried? No, you should be very excited. No comment as to why. Depends what you're into, I suppose, isn't it? You know, different strokes for different folks. That's the saying. That's the saying. Right, but yeah, there's 4 more awesome lists. So thank you so much for submitting. I had 4 different attachments. We've got a Flyable on top left, we got a Virulent Vector on top right, Taliban 1.5k top bottom left, and a more Tyrant's Hammer with the PBCs. How would the list do you think? It's very dependent. If you come across sort of normal armies that are like gonna try and like do trading and things like that, it can still do incredibly well. Like indirect is still oppressive, especially if you come across like armies that haven't got many scoring units, just have big like you can chip down stuff super easily. You can get a lot of punishment there. It's still a strong list archetype. The biggest worry is just going to be again like sort of like big aggressive rundowns or like really heavy like again knights knights can be a bit whiffy. It just depends. The real problem is like the real thing that's going to matter is, do these PBCs have a good round? If they have a good round and kill quite a few things, when these start dying, you're losing 210 points at a time. But like, it has been proven it does work and it can do really well. It's just got less stuff than before. That's it. So it is honestly still a solid list, and you'll be fine. Especially like if you go into casual clubs and things like that, you'll people will hate you because indirect is like that. But again, make them cry. It's funny. But like you've got plenty of shooting here. You've still got a really good melee threat, and this just shows up the biggest weakness that you have. It might not always win. That's just the nature of beast. If you go against first against something like Crute Horde, like you're just never getting out of that, mate. Like no offense, but sometimes that's 40, especially at the moment. If I want an honest truth, I've got honest truth. 40k is very coin flippy at the moment. Not so much in terms of first turn, but a lot of people are winning and losing events, partly with powered armies, because of the run they get. If you get a good run and you're against armies that you've got good matchups into, like the disparity between going into a good matchup and a bad matchup is night and day. It is crazy. Like I've had auto wins before and I've had auto losses before, and then in between you run into the other idiot who's also brought a take all comers list like you, and you get to have a nice normal game of 40k. But with lists out there with like 18 Victrix and things like that and 5 Catan, like you can't possibly prepare for both. Do you get what I mean? To beat one requires the complete opposite of the other. So if you bring an anti-5 Catan list and you're running to 5 Catan all the time, you'll have a great time. But if you bring anti-5 Catan and then run into Orc Horde 5 games, you're just going to get battered. So as much as player skill does matter, there is 100% element of pairings and luck at the moment. And that's just the only way you can look at it. And when you sort of accept that, you kind of just like, all right, it's fine. You just do the best you can. Show off your faction you can, and pray for the pairings gods, really. But when it comes to those take all comers versus take all comers lists, like that's where like the sort of like thing it's shine. But even then, take all comers lists can get run over by skew. You'd be surprised how much is on pairing gods at the moment. Honestly, it's kind of mad. Right, variety list was indeed good for this one. It was really cool to see. So, right, that's going to bring us to the end of tonight. So obviously, I will be back on Tuesday with the guys. And now, as I said before, it is my driving test week next week. So I'm going to be like really busy because I'm getting as many lessons as I can in prior to that test. I will try and get a video up for you. I have got a perfect plague for Catan video set up. It just needs to be recorded. It's just really hard to find the time at the moment because I was like to the guy, my driving instructor, I was just like, look, keep me on call like a doctor, like a surgeon. Just call me. You get a slot, let me know, and I'll be there. So it's just always constantly like back and forth, and like sometimes it even happens mid-recording. I'm like, crap, because I need to get what I can. So yeah, I will try and get that video up for you. It's just a video. It's like a 45-minute odd video probably on how to just try and beat Catan in many different ways, not just killing them, outscoring them, things like that. So hopefully get that up for you. If not, please bear with me. My test, like I said, is in the week. So after that, fail or pass, we go, I'll have a bit more free time. So, so yeah. But yeah, thank you so much for tuning in tonight. Thank you all for those wishing best of luck. Thank you. Really helps. I can do it. I know I can do it. Just gotta believe. Just gotta believe and then just not shit the bed. Not fail my 6-inch charge, shall we say. I don't need to not fail my 6-inch charge. And and practice that Bay Park a little more. Still going to practice that Bay Park a little more. Right. For now, everybody, hope you have a fantastic evening, night, morning, afternoon, wherever you are in the world. Hopefully you've enjoyed this one. Thank you so much for coming and joining the chat. Thank you for people, for all the questions and all the input, and for the people submitting the list. Thank you so much. And again, if you want to get yours checked out, leave a comment below, and we'll try and prioritize you next time. Or just tag me on the Discord, and we'll try and prioritize those people. Obviously, I do have to try and prioritize Blight Lords and Death Shroud because They do pay that extra for that sort of benefit. But as we saw tonight, I will try and fit in the odd plague green as and where I can, trying to be fair to sort of everyone. But unfortunately, there is unfortunately 1,500 of you guys and one of me. So it can be hard. It can be a bit hard. Yes, Desparding, the right side of the road. Yes, it's right because it's right, right? Right. For now, though, thank you so much, everybody. Take care of yourselves. Enjoy the rest of your night, and I will catch you all on the next one. Stay rotten. Bye-bye for now. Take care.
In the shadow of decay I rise, Typhus the herald beneath poison skies. With nobles rot I lay worlds to waste. The Reaper's scythe, no life can escape. Beneath the flies, beneath the filth, I spread the plague with the twisted will. From festering wounds, corruption grows in the heart of death. God, where his blood flows. I am the harbinger, the bringer of disease. In nobles' name I spread death with ease. Vessels walk with me hand in hand. Rivers of filth drown the land. I am Typhus, master of decay. In the name of ruin I claim the day. The Imperium's light crumbles to dust. Wherever I tread, rot consumes the just. Space hulks reek of a foul rebirth. Carriers of plague across the cursed earth. Beneath the flies, beneath the filth, I spread the plague with a twisted will. From festering wounds, corruption grows in the heart of death. God, where despair flows. I am the harbinger, the bringer of disease. In nobles' name I spread death with ease. Vessels walk with me hand in hand. Rivers of filth drown the land. I am Typhus, master of decay. In the name of ruin I claim the day. The Imperium's light crumbles to dust. Wherever I tread, rot consumes the just. Space hulks reek of a foul rebirth. Carriers of plague across the cursed earth. Beneath the flies, beneath the filth, I spread the plague with a twisted will. From festering wounds, corruption grows in the heart of death. God, where despair flows. I am the harbinger, the bringer of disease. In nobles' name I spread death with ease. Vessels walk with me hand in hand. Rivers of filth drown the land. I am Typhus, master of decay. In the name of ruin I claim the day.